can't think of a better story than the Dust Bowl story, because this is a group of so-called ordinary people, a bottom-up story of extraordinary heroism, of human folly, of a great tension between Mother Nature and human nature. Mother Nature more than often wins. This is the greatest man-made ecological disaster in American history, superimposed over the worst economic cataclysm in human history. Then you've got a good story going. What's so good about documentaries is that it's real. I mean, the most obvious aspect of it is that it's real. These lives really happen. So our job is to listen, to investigate, to look, to discover these lives. But then our job is to figure out how to distill the essence of their stories into something that fits the laws of good storytelling. But we're not a screenwriter superimposing what happened. When this family, which had hoped to have a section of land that they could farm and hand on to their sons, ends up living in a chicken coop because it's the only thing they could afford to live in, that is an amazing story that no screenwriter in Hollywood could make up. When the elements of the story of the Dust Bowl are beyond belief in some ways, and yet real human beings like you and me, live through it. We have a great tradition of just showing life as it is, but we've also have a tradition of advocating. I want to be somewhere in between. I want to observe life. I want to tell complicated dimensions of our history and therefore our present, because our history is always influencing our present, and allow people to make the decisions that they need to make, to be inspired as they would be inspired. I don't want to tell them how to feel. I want to give them the opportunity to feel. The legacy is not in anything that I've done as much as the reactions that people have, or don't have, as the case may be, to these films, to these stories, to these subjects. So in the end, you can pull the film away, you can pull me away, you can even pull the extraordinary people who work on these films away. And what you're left is with whatever you bring to that moment, what your responses are, and what you do with that. And that's the best kind of communication. It doesn't, you know, it's acknowledging that you're equal, that there is no communication except among equals. If I'm talking down to you, nothing can happen. If I'm talking up to you, nothing can happen. That we have to look at each other as equal human beings and say, hey, you know what? I think this is a really good story.